By working alongside the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee, donors can make more possible right here at home. The Community Foundation's expert team connects individuals to organizations that make a difference on issues of concern for Middle Tennesseans and connect donors to a network of like-minded contributors invested in the community. Make more possible through the power of community giving. Learn more at cfmt.org.
What's going on, everybody? This is Jerome Moore, one of your co-hosts of the Nashville Scene Podcast. And, of course, I'm here with my great co-host, DP. We back together.
Back again.
The last one for Season 3.
It is the last one for Season 3. It's episode 18 overall. We're bringing Lucky Season 3 in to close.
Yeah.
Got a great pair of guests. I think the perfect ones to go out on Season 3 with. A couple of folks who run the Jefferson Street Sound Museum. We've got Mr. Lorenzo Washington and Karen Coffey. Lorenzo, the founder and curator of Jefferson Street Sound Museum. And Karen, you're the vice president, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you coming over to the east side for us.
Absolutely.
So what we want to start off with, I think most people who know Nashville or are from Nashville, have been here a long time, know a little bit about Jefferson Street, or hopefully they do. But would you,
if you don't, it's a problem.
If you don't, you need to catch up. But would you do a little bit, just kind of catch us up on sort of the rich history of artists and clubs, especially in the heyday of Jefferson Street, what was going on down there?
Well, to start off, I designed a tree. Mm-hmm. And I call it the Jefferson Street Music Tree. And on this tree, the center of this tree represents Jefferson Street. And the limbs on the tree represent the clubs and the learning institutions like Fisk University and Tennessee State. And the artists represent the leaves on this tree. And there are over 150 artists on this tree. And there's artists like B.B. King, Ray Charles, Aretha Franklin, Hank Crawford, and just a number of artists and musicians. And you'd really have to come to the museum and hang out with me and let me tour you through the museum for you to get the real effect of the history that was on Jefferson Street.
Now, we need a time machine, because I want to go back and experience it. If you had to pick a year of Jefferson Street that you believe was your favorite year to just be alive and experiencing the thriving musicianship community, what year would that be?
I'd say, I wouldn't just say one, I'd say 61, 62.
Okay. That was a sweet spot.
That's a sweet spot. 61, 62.
That was a sweet spot.
What made that such a sweet spot?
Because it was so much going on over on Jefferson Street during those years. It was over 600 and something homes and businesses on Jefferson Street. It was just alive all the time, especially on the weekend. You had the colleges over there, the three HBCUs over there with it was Tennessee State, Meharry Medical College, and Fisk University. So you had that flux of young people on Jefferson Street on the weekends. And also you had the professors that worked in the colleges. You had the mechanics down the street, the business owners that owned the grocery stores and the candy stores and the bakeries and all of these different businesses. So whatever you would need for survival, or not just survival, but for life itself, was right there on Jefferson Street. That community served all these black folk that lived in Nashville. I know we lived in East Nashville, just across the street near Top Golf. We lived on that side, and we'd have to walk across the street, or walk across the bridge to Jefferson Street. And we did that a lot.
That's why you look so good today. That walking, you know?
Kept in shape. Right?
Yeah. But I got my first car in when I was 15 years old, and but I couldn't get licensed until I was 16. So I would let these older guys drive my car. So wherever they went.
You went.
In my car, I was there.
Oh, I see. You were the car man, but they took you along with them. Okay.
They had to.
Yeah, your car. Yeah.
So I was able to get in some of the beer taverns and the clubs just because I was with them.
Yeah.
You know, so they got me in and out of some of the spots. But it was so much, and the families up and down Jefferson Street on the weekends would be selling fish sandwiches, hot dogs, hamburgers, chitlin plates.
Yeah.
Because Jefferson Street was a part of the chitlin circuit. You'd have to be a little older to understand the word chitlin circuit, you know. But a lot of the artists and musicians traveled the southeast along this chitlin circuit. It was a circuit where they could travel. And whatever city they went to, if they were a part of that chitlin circuit thing, these artists could stop, stay a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, get jobs in the clubs, you know. And it was a real comfortable situation for artists and musicians during that time.
I gotta ask this one. I told DP I had to ask you this one because modern day we hear Jefferson Street, Buchanan, right? But they're two different vibes.
Yeah.
Back in the day,
Yeah.
and I remember me and you had a conversation. You was breaking it down to me, and like some of my aunties and uncles was like Jefferson Street and Buchanan was very different areas. But a lot of people try to loop them together because they both in North Nashville.
No,
can you just break it down a tad bit of like the difference growing up of being on Jefferson Street and being on Buchanan? And so people understand that history too of the differences of the two streets.
Now Jefferson Street was 98% black. Buchanan was quite a few Jewish folk on Buchanan that had clothing stores, dry goods stores, vegetable wagons, and that kind of thing. So when you go to Buchanan, the color thing changed a little bit.
Right.
But when you came to Jefferson Street, you knew you were on Jefferson Street. Right. That's where all the black folk was. Now, I had the first business that I started was a barbecue pit, and it was the Black and White Pig Pit Barbecue on Buchanan.
Okay.
And that was in 1972.
Okay.
And that was my first business that I started. So I'm fairly well acquainted with both streets, you know. Mm-hmm. And Jefferson Street, I was over there a lot. My best friends were dentists at Meharry Medical College. Mm-hmm. So Dr. Morgan Hines and Gibson Johnson and Terry Selman and all those guys, a lot of folk will know them.
Right.
And so I was over there in and out of the college grounds a lot also. Mm-hmm. So I just happened to be able to position myself.
Good businessman.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Had the car, position yourself to get into how
This is a man who knows how to take advantage of the situation.
Exactly.
Well, unfortunately, you can't talk about North Nashville and Jefferson Street specifically without talking a little bit about the construction of I-40, right, in the late 1960s and what that did to a really thriving neighborhood and really decimated a thriving cultural center in the city, correct?
Mm-hmm. It did. Yeah. It did. It kind of started now the talk of the interstate coming through the community started in like 1955, 56, is when it started. But they didn't tell the community what they were about to do. Mm-hmm. They just put the plans together and initiated the plan.
Right.
And that started in like 64 63, 64 is when they actually start breaking ground. And when they start breaking ground, the community was like horrified. They didn't know what to do with these tractors and big trucks coming up and down their streets, and nobody's telling you what's going on. And once that got started, then a lot of the residents start moving out. And when the residents started moving out, of course, the businesses didn't have
no customers.
Displacement, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So the businesses started moving out. And when that happened, the neighborhood just started going down because people were leaving their homes,
Right. Vacant.
Right, just vacant. And the city was not cleaning up the streets and
Neglected.
very neglected. There you go. That's the word.
Yeah, neglected, yeah.
That's the word.
Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee transforms thoughtful generosity into lasting positive change, connecting donors with nonprofits to build a thriving, inclusive Nashville. As a trusted partner and convener, CFMT helps caring residents make a meaningful impact today and for generations to come.
Learn more at cfmt.org.
So everything started going downhill at that point.
It wasn't a community anymore.
Yeah,
You know?
you're right.
Now, when somebody has a chain link fence in your front yard and blocking access to the street,
Yeah.
and there's dust, rocks, and grime, and the fact that the notices of what was going to happen on Jefferson Street was never posted in the North Nashville neighborhood. It was posted in other neighborhoods, but it was posted.
Right.
But it wasn't posted where the community could see it.
Right.
So it's that plausible deniability. Oh, we posted it,
Correct, but you didn't post it correctly.
to the people who it
That's
is
right.
actually affecting.
And
Right?
that's
Right.
community.
And I think we have to mention too, just the ripple effects of I-40 and interstate, right? It
Right.
created dead ends, right? It created traps
Right.
in those neighborhoods to where you see. That's why if you're in North Nashville and you're in that area, it's a lot of dead ends. It's a lot of
Right.
traps, and it's by the interstate. So you're talking about environmental things, but also like you literally in a trap. When we talk about being in the trap, you literally in a trap because of the interstate. And there's a lot of dead ends. It's just, and people that the precautions and the residual effects of just that going on. You feel it today. You see it today. You might not know why it's there,
Right.
but that's why we got Mr. Lorenzo Washington here breaking it down to you, so now you know for sure. But like that's just growing up in North Nashville, going to Pearl Cone, right?
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
are things that for whatever reason, don't get mentioned or talked about in our public schools. I think like they should.
Right.
It should be
right.
like, because we have so much rich history,
Right.
and hidden gems, right? And I think like that should be part of the curriculum in some way, Nashville curriculum, because for whatever reason we don't talk about and have pride about our city in that way, like other cities, especially in the South, that are also were black meccas for social movement in general, just humanities movement, just outside of black folks in general. And I feel like if we just, I didn't get that, so I know I'm a residual effect of like I didn't get the history in my. And I went to all North Nashville schools. I didn't get none of that history outside from my parents, my grandparents, and family members that were around the time. But I couldn't open up a book and read it or wasn't taught of it. Doing Black History Month or just history in general.
We were in the midst of a group of educators, and we got the attention of a couple. Where were they from?
From Georgia.
Georgia.
Okay.
And they put a curriculum
we have a curriculum.
together
Wow.
for us.
That's great.
And so
amazing.
we've got that now to
share.
Dr.
with-
Battle, we got to get that curriculum in the school. Dr. Battle. Yeah.
So nobody has an excuse now.
Yeah.
Nobody has an excuse now.
Yeah.
I sure didn't know until I was an adult about it. And you think about it now, it's an outrage to think that what was like a gem in the city's cultural crown, we're Music City, right? So much of being Music City is because of North Nashville, it's because of the black community, and it's just an outrage to think eminent domain could come in and just cut this neighborhood in half. And I didn't, I grew up in Hendersonville, so not Nashville, but I never knew a thing about it. Nobody was,
But like that's down the street though,
Yeah.
right? So it's like,
I'll take it.
you're down the street.
I'm
So
close
it's like,
enough that I should have known.
Yeah, you close enough that you should have known.
Yeah.
Like you close enough that you should have known.
But and going back to the curriculum, one of the things that should be done is the school children should come and visit the museum, all the schools.
Yeah.
And so that's something that Dr. Battle can put some muscle behind.
There you go.
The teachers and the principals need to make an intentional effort to come visit the museum so that all children can know the impact of historic Jefferson Street and the role that it played in music, in civil rights, in the sciences, in math, and all disciplines.
Yeah, because we got a lot of new families that are coming here that wasn't necessarily born and raised here, but their kids will be. And so being able to bring them down to a museum like that, because they can also learn the history, but also have their children an opportunity to meet a Mr. Lorenzo Washington and talk. Because I know you just celebrated 82 years of amazing life,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Many people don't make
Belated
it that long.
happy birthday,
Yeah,
by the
many
way.
people don't make it that long. So that's a blessing that you're still here. And we have to take advantage of that as a community to get that knowledge and that wisdom, because, our elders leave us. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality. And so we got to be intentional about soaking that
It has to be
information in.
intentional.
And then that way, the other kids can learn the history and pass it on and pass it forward, or put it in the books, or continue the curriculum before it can grow. But yeah, I just think like Nashville, we all play a part in making that happen.
Well, see, I tell the story when I'm giving tours in the museum. I let the folk know that when I give a tour, it's not only about the artists and musicians that I'm speaking of. It's also my life. I'm giving you bits and pieces of, because I hung with some of these artists and musicians. We were friends, and that's where I got my stories from. Is from being in the environment with when Jimmy Church and Johnny Jones had a guitar battle down at the
Jimi
Hendrix.
and Johnny Jones had the guitar battle down at the Club Baron.
Club Baron.
The Club Baron, yes.
That's just crazy. You witnessed
Right.
that's just
People would pay to see that now.
Man, people-
It's unreal.
But people would have paid to hear these stories.
Right.
Yeah.
When the book coming out? They get the book.
Well, I've got one.
You know what I'm saying?
That's been out for
3 years, going on 4 years now.
Okay.
4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
But it's time to write the next one.
Yeah.
And we've been discussing that.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be one of the best books because we've been talking about all of this
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And we've got film and
Put multimedia. Add some film.
Exactly.
What? Y'all seen a book of Eli with Denzel Washington?
Yeah.
When he's laying down and he just remembers everything, and they just rewriting the Bible based on that's what we need. We just need you to sit back and we just need to document
We'll
and scribe
transcribe,
your story. You ain't gotta do nothing. You just sit
sit
there
back and
talk,
dream.
go to sleep when you need the rest, and then wake back up and just continue the story.
I said we got a recording studio upstairs in the building, and I said I was gonna get me a chair and rear back and put some soft music on and just reminisce about what took place on Jefferson, what I was involved in, the people that I met before it's too late.
Yeah.
Because like I say in some interviews, that after me, with these stories, I don't know of anybody that's learning and that's gravitating to the history of North Nashville. And we're not just dealing with Jefferson Street. We're dealing with an entire black community over
In
there.
a sense, the entire city, right?
Exactly.
no.
The entire
Yeah.
city.
Well,
An entire city,
Yeah.
which it touches on,
Right.
but that community, that area, Jefferson Street, was the black community,
Right. It was
the Black Wall
regardless of
Street.
what
Black Wall Street.
who says,
Yeah.
who says, that's what. And when you come to me, you get the story like it is.
Right.
It's the black neighborhood that we are trying to protect and trying to educate folk about.
Protect is an interesting word to use right now.
Protect.
In North
And
Nashville. And repair.
No, propel.
Propel.
It's not just about the past, right? It's
Yeah.
about the present
You have
and
to
moving into the
propel it.
future.
Yeah.
Right.
And well, you got an event coming up April 3rd, I believe. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Lorenzo Washington Day Gala, benefiting the Jefferson Street Sound Museum. So this is the one event that we have each year to help with the funding of keeping the doors open of the museum. And so we're just always so excited. We honor Mr. Washington for his efforts and dedication in preserving the musical legacies of historic Jefferson Street through the museum. And then in turn, the Mr. Washington and the museum honor other artists. So this year we're going to honor D. Ford Bailey. He'll receive the Country Music Trailblazer Award. Thomas Kane and James Watt Watson will receive the Living Legend Award. Papa Turney and Miss Zeke, Mike and Irene Turney, they're on Papa Turney's at Nashville Shores. They'll receive the Historic Jefferson Street Star Award. And also Sharon Kay, who's the first general manager of Jazzy 88.1 radio station. She'll receive the Historic Jefferson Street Star Award. So I commend Mr. Washington, even though he is being honored and recognized, he in turn then is honoring others,
Right, paying it forward.
recognizing and uplifting them. So that's very important,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And if we don't do it for ourselves and for our community, no one else will.
Where can people get tickets? How can people?
They can visit jeffersonstreetsound.com and purchase the tickets at the website.
This is the third annual gala.
Third annual Lorenzo Washington Day
And I
Gala.
heard there's going to be an instrument associated with the
There's an
event.
instrument. At each gala, we always have a musical instrument so that we have audience participation. The first gala was the tambourine. The second gala was the bell. And this year, we're going to have the harmonica because we're honoring D. Ford Bailey, the harmonica wizard. And Carlos D. Ford Bailey, his grandson, is going to give everybody a lesson on how to play the harmonica. So again, we will have audience participation.
For
Great.
sure.
Maybe some harmonizing, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Depends how much talent there is in the audience.
But at least you get to keep the harmonica.
That's a great take home.
DP, I know we coming to a close.
Yeah.
But I got to ask this one question. It's season 3 is the last episode. We're going to give y'all a little extra time. I want to go back to that propel and protect.
Correct.
I'm curious to understand and know what you feel that looks like, protecting and propelling North Nashville, Jefferson Street as we move forward as a city.
Seymour. Start your month off right. Seymour is a program that we host the first Monday of every month, and it's live music and entertainment.
Okay.
And so it gives everybody a chance to be back on Jefferson Street, to put their footprints on Jefferson Street, of all ages, so and especially the youth, because the youth is our future.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
we want to bring back that musical environment back to Jefferson Street because we have completely lost it because there weren't any entertainment on Jefferson Street, really. And we want to bring that back, bring the young folk back to Jefferson Street and give them a chance to learn about who was on Jefferson Street before them, who left their footprints on Jefferson Street, like, Ray Charles, B.B. King, Aretha Franklin, Etta James,
James Brown.
Ella
yeah.
Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
All of these great artists and musicians left their footprints on Jefferson Street. But these kids today don't know that, don't know that we had that kind of musical environment in North Nashville.
So with Seymour, they get to put their footprints in the museum and be amongst all that memorabilia, right, in history. So it's a different movement.
So we need all the artists and musicians to tap in with Mr. Washington then. And
the first Monday of the month, Seymour, start your month off right. It's from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. So we have Melody and Harmony are our host. We have a different featured artist every month, and then open mic.
Okay.
Great. Start your month off right. Seymour. Okay. It's an acronym.
Your
That's
month
clever.
off
It took me a
right.
second.
Seymour.
I love
So
it.
we're building the Seymour community.
Oh, great. Seymour.
Okay.
Community.
Yeah. All right. Well.
And that's a way to pass it to the next generation, make it feel alive, right?
Correct.
When
Right,
folks can
right.
be in the space and hear these stories, but participating in it makes it feel like they're still a part of it.
And they become invested.
Yeah.
They're invested in their own history.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I want to point people back to in our, I believe it's February 27th issue. We had Ron Wynn, longtime writer for The Scene. He interviewed you for a story there. We'll link to it when we post the podcast as well. And we'll remind people of the April 3rd gala because that's very exciting.
Thank you.
The third annual with the harmonicas.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So thank you so much, Mr. Washington, Mrs. Coffey, for joining us. And I guess that's it for season 3.
Thank
Season
you.
3. Thank y'all. We ended it off. What
Thank
better
you.
way?
I know.
I love it.
What better way? Thank
Feels
y'all.
good.
And
This
y'all make
was-
sure y'all go do y'all support.
Yep.
Yeah, this
Like and
was one
subscribe.
of the best.
Oh, okay.
great.
Well, hey,
Yeah.
that's usually what happens when we involved. You know?
That's right. That's right.
Thanks for watching, you guys. Thanks for listening. And like and subscribe. We'll see you next season.
Season 4.